Yo, what's up? So today what we're gonna do is actually work on finalizing a book that I wrote yesterday. This came in very intuitively, and I'm gonna call it The Modern Day Magician. It was gonna be called The Book of Secrets, but you know, Enoch already wrote that, and there's a little spin-off of what Enoch wrote, but this book is sick, and it starts off like, I see the world from the other side of the mirror. To most people, the floor beneath their feet is the only reality. The bills, the ego, the physical friction on Monday mornings, that's the realm to them. To me, this is the ghost, and that's so true. The unseen is what carries the weight. I can feel the planets shift in my marrow before I even look at a chart. I see the energetic cords of every soul in the room like a glowing fiber optic plugged into the master server I visited in the stars, which is the coolest spot I've ever been. And this is the entry to my book, and I plan on sharing this through using a teleprompter and performing it a little bit, because I spent 2 days. It started on February 21st. I just randomly got a channel and started channeling it. And then yesterday, February 22nd, seriously just hit 6 to 8 hours where I used Wispr Flow and Google Gemini. I was just inputting and having it ask questions and inputting and questions, and then it tied it all together. And it's really cool. And the prompt that I used for this is really simple. It was, I'm gonna brain dump and share a bunch of information with you. And what I need you to do is segment and compile the information, create a frame. And it started to create a PowerPoint, which was like, no, this isn't a PowerPoint. So then once it had enough input, I was like, turn this into a narrative. I want to tell the story of how I use everything that's unseen to be more seen, and then create a practical application and storyline that people can see how I use everything metaphysics and everything unseen of my psychic gifts of clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, whichever one I didn't say, I always listen, but I have all the clairs. And this book really identifies how I've mastered my astrology and how I use each placement, and how I've used my energetic design as a 2-4 mental projector with single definition and a right cross to Eden to master how I show up every day, how I use my intuition, how, specifically I have to use my environment to access my intuition. And it comes to the people around me, the signs, the things I see. And I do feel like I live in this reality that is backwards and upside down. But it's also a knowing that it's my job to help share that with people from a unique perspective, because I think it's been the most confusing thing in my life to live this way and make it feel so right. And everybody around me wants to tell me that it's wrong and there's a better way, and though it works for them. And knowing my human design and stuff, it's like I see the world at a 0.16% perspective. So no wonder everybody doesn't understand it. But as a visionary and somebody who's a creative and having these talents and skills, it's really my job in order to create a way for them to connect with it. And that's what I did with this book, is like, how can I create a way for other people to connect with the way I see the world? Because I feel a lot of people love my lifestyle, my flow, how I operate, how I can do multiple things at once, be all over the place and make it fun and easy. And it's really easy for me. But I also think when I share it with them, they're like, oh, I can't do this. This is completely backwards from everything that we were taught. But I think everything that I'm doing right now is I've been decentralizing from everything, so that I'm literally operating on my own in my own way, so that there's always, and it goes against every system that we've learned of like planning, scheduling, and it's purely a flow state. And I love it because it feeds my curiosity, it feeds my excitement, it allows me to live life in every moment like we did back in the day. It's very nomadic. It's very woo-wee, like Taoism, or however you say that. It's like, let go and let the energy flow. And it's just built on this lifestyle of waking up every day, checking in with myself spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally, and doing that check throughout the day, and basing what I do based on literally checking in with myself and seeing how I feel. What do I have energy for? What am I committed to? And then navigating through those in a flow state, which is beautiful. And it took about 5 years to learn how to operate this. And when I share it with people, they're like, oh, that's awesome, but I don't want to do it. And I'm like, I can get that, but it's definitely something that I'm meant to share with the world and bring to the world. So that's what I'm doing here. And yeah, I love when stuff like this pops out of the blue. It's so magical to just see how, like an intuitive burst came in. I felt it. I started working with it. And the more I worked with it, the more it opened. And then I'm hanging out watching 3 cats here, and these cats, as soon as I started channeling the other day, like they got really active, and the shy one came out and was sitting on my lap, and then he brought downloads to help me get clarity on this book, and I'm like, this is magical. So, and just for a part, like that's how magical my life is. I don't I don't try to spiritually apply things to things in life and force it, but when I see it and they show up and I pay it attention for the magic in front of me, more magic comes in. And yeah, so anywho, just wanted to share that with you guys, and I'm going to finish working this, so check back in later. Peace.